What's going on, everybody? Welcome in another 5 minutes with Sean, maybe 10 sit down edition, Mental Health Monday. The list goes on and on. Thank you so much for making the time. I appreciate it. Today, we're going to go on the mental health journey a little bit more holistically than I think we've gone before. We're going to try and tap into what I like to refer to as the vibrations, the feeling of what we have around us, what makes us who we are without actually realizing it's happening to us. And to do that, I have already just talking to her pre-show. I just love the energy, love everything we have going on here. Amanda Storrs. Amanda, how are you today?
Beautiful. How are you, Sean?
I'm wonderful. Thank you. For those who don't know, Amanda, she is the daughter of the great, as she put it, this is her quote, the great and powerful Russ Man, or VSC Russ Man. I don't know, Russ Man. You're going to have to decide how you're going to go about that title in the future. But this is how we got here. Amanda is someone who is an expert in crystals, if I understand it correctly, love coach. These are the things we need to hear more about right now. So, Amanda, I know you've got some exciting things going on, and they're all going to tie together. But when you talk, when I talk to you about the idea of mental health, well, what does that mean to you? And I realize it's a broad question, but just when you first hear it, what do you think?
So when you said that, I literally panicked. I'm like, oh boy. It's a broad subject. To me, it's one of the most important things as humans that we need to make sure that we're taking seriously. I would almost weigh mental health slightly over physical health, because I feel like if you're mentally healthy, you're going to be able to be physically healthy. So it's important to me. It's not something I've ever, grown up with. You just kind of get thrown into it when something happens and kind of learn as you go, I think. So it's an important aspect, I think, of everybody's life, no matter what age you're at.
Agreed. You said you were panicked when you heard the word, or we had talked about it initially. And I'll tell you, I think a lot of people have that recoil, right? And I think it's part of how people interact with terminology and what they know about what they don't know. And you talk about the education that was given, right? So previous and how you were raised. And I've had Russ Man on my show. He's been very forward about who he is, what he believes in, how, yes, he's trying to do things differently than his parents, but he realizes that he wasn't as far off as he would have liked to have been from that angle, right? And I think that what's happening now, though, with my generation, your generation, and everyone younger than us, is that this is now it's a common conversation. It's everywhere. It's not on the don't talk religion and politics list that I grew up with. And it never was, really. No one ever said, and not your feelings either. It just never came up. But now it feels more direct. Is that the sense you get from being younger than me, but not, 18 years old? Is that what you think is happening behind us?
Yeah, I do. I agree with that. I think that it's getting there. It's easy to talk about. It's still a little weird, I think, for everybody. But, once you break the ice, it's like, okay, I did it. Where it's fine. It's good. I just had a conversation the other day at work with one of my associates, and, it took her a minute to be brave and come talk to me about it. And so it's, it still has that little bit of a stigma, I think. But I think we really are working rapidly to really break that stigma.
I agree. And I think the word stigma really stands out, with a lot of different things. I'm someone I'm very open about what it is that I do with my life and how I deal with it. And, there are things that come up in stigmas and things that I enjoy or that I use for my own life that people have stigma attached to. And whether it's me selling cars, right? Being in the car business has its own stigma, or my use of cannabis, or my support of it, or whatever these ranging topics are that people have their vision of what it is. It can be tough to bring it forward. And I'm a loud, obnoxious, say anything kind of human being. And I still am cautious as to how I approach it. I mean, I started the Mental Health Mondays off. It was the beginning of this year. I guess we've only been doing this a couple months. No, maybe it's last year. Doesn't matter. I had my therapist on, and I just sat in her office and we basically recorded pretty much what it would have been like had I just been sitting there by myself. But it was a little bit more of a Q&A. And so when that happens and you're able to showcase that, I was really worried what people were going to think for a second. And then I thought to myself, how's that going to help anyone get better? How's it going to help anyone see that it's okay? And I don't view myself as like manly man, oh my gosh, everything's man. I don't really care. None of that bothers me. My wife and I do the same duties. We share the household, I vacuum, I cook, I'm a part of the laundry. You know what I mean? Like, so it's not like I don't want to deal with that sort of construct, but for you, being younger and let's face it, being a female, is it more difficult for you to feel safe to discuss the topic? Is that what you meant when you said brave about your associate, was feeling like she could be safe and have that discussion with you?
Yes, I feel like it's not something I've ever had in the past, and I've become comfortable with it myself. And so because I am comfortable, I'm able to create that environment around my people, regardless of where I'm at, that they can feel safe to come to me. And I've grown to really learn how to hold space for people for however long, whatever they need, and then come back to my own, and not let their weight carry on me. So I think me having a lot of practice is really what made her feel safe to be able to talk to me about it, because she's never been in an environment like that before.
Yeah, that's a mad superpower. I don't know if you know that, but to be able to do that and hold space for others and then shed that once that discussion is over. And I don't mean shed it in a negative way. I just mean it shed it in a carry way. That's not something that the average person can do. And so that is a big thing for you. You must have put yourself through many paces trying to figure out how to make that work for yourself. I struggle with it because in my life, it feels it's rarely reciprocated. I don't require the space of many, but when I have needed just that inch, after having given the inches many years previous to everyone, I never felt like they were there. Now, maybe that's my own shit. Maybe I feel like I don't put myself out there enough, but when I do, maybe I feel like everyone should drop their shit. I really don't know. Talking to my therapist about it, but you're doing something really amazing with that, Amanda. So you should be very proud of yourself for having accomplished that skill.
Thank you. I appreciate hearing that.
That's really very cool. So with mental health being as important as it is to us, I think it's also important to point out wins, right? I think when mental health doesn't always have to be about something negative transpiring around you. As a matter of fact, it can be more about trying to find the green grass and things as opposed to the dirt. And so with that, you and I were talking pre-show. You muted your line. You had to take a call. Yeah. I could tell by your face that there was something going on above. It wasn't like you were taking a bad call, because when you initially said, Sean, hold on one second, I got to take this call, I was like, oh shit, I don't want this to be on camera. Like, I don't know what this is, right? And then you took it. And so tell us about the win that has just happened to Amanda live on this show. Okay. Yeah, people will be watching this on Monday, but just know this, people, this was not recorded that much far away from Monday. So Amanda, tell us what just happened for you.
Okay. Well, and I would like to say, I hope my dad's not mad at me that you get to hear this before he does.
Well, this is just a matter of timing, Russ, man. It has nothing to do with title or VSC or anything like that. It's just a matter of timing. All right. What do we got?
So when you talk about wins, I am one, like, that is my big opportunity when it comes to mental health, is I don't celebrate my wins. I don't. It's one thing, it's just something I'm supposed to do, right? I'm just supposed to pay my bills. I'm supposed to go to work. I'm supposed to be the best employee. I'm supposed to be the best mom, the best friend, the best spouse. And I just do it because that's just what I feel like I'm supposed to do. And when when you even just said how proud I should be, like for me to receive that is a lot of hard. It's taken me a long time to be able to receive, because that is a win, right? And I really do need to own it, and I don't. um I don't. So I've been on this journey, and I'm realizing how powerful vision boards are, and how like daydreaming, I call it daydreaming. That's very much the way that I can get into a super high vibration of where I want to be, where I'm going. I get super fucking excited. Um, and it just like, even if it's for 3 minutes, and I'm just in the vibe, I'm feeling the feels, I know where I want to go. Well, what I've done is, and maybe I can send you my vision board. I did one in 2019, and I put a Cadillac CTS on it. And I've wanted one since I was 15 years old. And I finally bought one after 15 years. So then I thought, okay, I'm loving this, right? Well, then after I bought the car, it was early 2020. I saw this white car in a parking lot on my way to work. And I was like, what is that? Now, I can name a car by the headlights, like in the dark. But like that's just, I'd never seen this car before. And I was like, what the hell is that? And so I just Googled Trident car logo or whatever. I Googled something like that, and Maserati came up. And I was like, oh, you're fucking kidding me. And so I was like, okay. It was white. And so I've just like kind of filled it out for about a year. And then last year, I saw one in real life, like driving, and I was like, OMG, okay, we're doing it. And so I just looked on the site, and I like planned it all out. I printed all the pictures, and well, today I just bought a 2017 Maserati Gilby SQ4 with the red stitching.
You know what? You know what I love about this? I love a couple of things. Number one, you are clearly the daughter of a car guy. Okay, I mean,
right?
Children who can recognize cars by headlights are daughter of car guys. Okay, so we'll start with that, and you went from a Cadillac, which was your dream car. Also, tell me you're the daughter of a car guy without not telling me that. Okay, that's clearly number two. And number three, I could almost tell you that this was the car. Actually, I could tell you that was the car, because when I was, I like to look back, get some concept and context of who's coming on the show. I saw in your feed, you had posted a board somewhere about this vehicle, and this is going to be my vehicle. This is going to be my life. And now to have it on the show, I literally, like 5 minutes before you even came on the Zoom, I had scrolled and seen this post from you. And so your excitement, your beaming this, plus you handled the car deal like your dad would be proud. Like, Russ, man, this is like baller cardio. It was like, yes, no, send it, boom, and just hanging the phone up, dude. Boom, done. That was awesome. No, that was super cool. I'm so happy for you. I think a lot of people, you're the daughter, like I said, daughter of a car guy, been around car business your whole life. Right. Look at your genuine excitement for this shit right now, right? Like, you're genuinely on cloud 9 about buying a car. So I'm going to pause the show real fast and say to all my car people, this is what you work for. This is why you do your job. Give a shit. I can tell you right now, this young lady did not go through some traditional channel to buy her car. The person she just spoke to is someone who knows her, who knows the deal, who made the deal. Okay? That is all. That is the whole 9 yards of it. So when you're thinking about, it's selling cars is just, sell a car and move on. No, it's not. There's clearly more than that. And it doesn't have to be delivered to her house. She doesn't have to buy it online. You just got to have the right car and treat people right. Okay? Yep. Look at this young woman's excitement. Well, Amanda, I mean, bravo. And I'll tell you something. I do not do well with praise either. I do not do well with positive, Sean, you're this, Sean, you're that. I used to let it be a mask and let people think it fueled me and made me arrogant. I could puff my chest out because everyone said it. But honestly, as I've gotten older, I want to hear less and less about how I've done something good or great because it feels expected in a different way. I don't feel like people expect it of me. I feel like I expect it of me. I feel like I've put enough into the world that I need to just keep being who I am. I've gotten to be good at it. Don't change that for everybody else, but realize that along the way, you run a business, you have social, you have a podcast, right? People are going to say things to you, whether it's good or bad. People are going to say things to you, and you just have to sort of, as you said, like receive it, and then just kind of discard it. As I know, as rough as that sounds, but for you, you're going to bask in this purchase for quite some time, I would gather.
Yes, for at least 84 months.
uh, going term. You know what I'm saying? Getting life's dreams via term, and it's all good because there's still a great interest rate out there, as I heard mentioned. I think quickly. So for 84 lockup, if you can really still get that rate, that's well below what houses are going for in this very moment. So
Yep.
get yourself a car of your dreams. You're a mom, you're a spouse, and now you own a Maserati. And that's hilarious because up until this morning, I worked with a Maserati dealer out in Florida. What a weird connection. My only Maserati store on my entire book of business canceled our service this morning, but now here I am and watching you enjoy the sale of a car. So that's even better than that.
Right. And I do have to say I am actually a single parent. I am single.
Okay, you use the word spouse. I apologize. I didn't mean to put words in your mouth or give you some sort of a title that was just to you.
No, you are fine. I feel I do have a boyfriend, but we don't pay bills together and stuff like that. We don't support each other that way.
Sure.
So
you're
that
single
to
mom
me is very,
wow.
yeah, it's a big deal. I feel like it's a stigma, it's another one of those things that it's a Maserati. And I'm like, you're riding around in a 4Runner. Like, it's the same thing. Just because really I have a sports car.
I have this argument all the time with people, Amanda. I totally get it. Like, look, my wife and I, we have a Mercedes, okay, that we lease, and it's a car that rotates through and it's on lease. I also own outright and bought with 4 miles on an 07 Subaru that I still own and have next to my Mercedes. It doesn't really matter what my Mercedes is because my budget ain't your budget. And frankly, I could drive an even bigger Mercedes if I wanted, but I don't. I like the car because I'm a car kid. I like the wheels and I like the grill. When I first saw this thing come off the line, I'm like, yeah, I'll take that car if you can get it in this color with that interior. My buddy's like, sure. I'm like, great. I'll be back when it gets here. And that was like the last day before they shut the ports of COVID. So yeah, no, I get it all the time. Me and my wife always joke, like, should we pull up to the family event in the Subaru or should it be the Mercedes and listen to everyone's bullshit? And it's just like, pull up the Mercedes because I really don't care. I work my ass off, and what I pay for and how I pay my bills is none of anyone else's damn business.
Yep.
And Amanda, you have to feel even more so as a single mother, right? Like that has to be even more of like I hate to say you versus the world because I don't like that phrase, but it implies that you're willing to take on anything the way I see it. So is that fair to say, being a single mom, is that sort of the empowerment?
Oh yeah, for sure. I refuse to live small because I'm a single parent or because I'm a parent at all. I've to be very transparent with you. We've already discussed my father. I watched my dad please everybody else and never live out one dream. I don't know that he'd ever dreamt or had a goal. And I never watched him do that. I refuse to do that. My son needs to know and see and watch me do this so that he does it. He knows how to do it. I didn't watch my dad do it. I watched my dad work in car business my whole life. That meant 6 days a week from 8:30 a.m. till 10 o'clock at night. And I refuse to continue that. And I need to show my son what dreaming big looks like and what working hard looks like.
I agree with you. I agree with you. I will say this, that for that situation, generationally speaking, and I know you already know this, but your dad and my dad, that's how that operation works. Is point A to point B equals C. And so that's how they get it done. The car business has ruined more than its fair share of homes, relationships, and the people around it. And trust me when I tell you, I had a choice a little over, I don't know, let's just call it 15 years ago, where it was keep doing what you're doing. Yep, you'll buy a dealership. Yep, you'll own a dealership. If you survive, you'll probably die of a heart attack. But if you did, you'd do it by yourself with no one next to you, with nothing left. Right. And so I knew that I had to get out for me. And so people can make change, but there's still a path between both, I guess, is what I'm trying to get to for Amanda. Like, I agree that your son needs to see all that. And I know you know this, but your son also needs to see a man like Russ Mann get it done and know that if this is what life takes you on, that we're built for this too, and you can do that as well. And so I don't envy your position as a single mother, and I say that because I think a lot of that support is going to all come from you. And I think ultimately that is something that is difficult for one human to take on is all. It's not a negative knock at you. It's just,
No.
I would like more support for you is what I come from.
Yeah. Yeah. Kelson's father is amazing, and he and I both still have an amazing relationship. And he gets to see two different worlds now, really. And he really does have support in both places, but it looks very different. So,
Well, you know what? Again, that the fact that you have that already makes me hear single parent, but with support, right? Because again, stigma wise, people hear single parent, they automatically assume whoever you're dealing with is a deadbeat, does nothing for you or your child. Because why else would you be single? Like if they were a stand-up person, they'd be next to you. And I think that's very dated and kind of like gross, like to even think about people just saying, well, yeah, because, if you're miserable as humans together, having another child or having a child doesn't ever rarely seem to fix that.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, no. So Amanda, with you and what you do, obviously you have your job that, pays the bills, puts the Mozzie in the driveway, but
right?
Your passion in life seems to be more in the connection of the things around us. Tell me a little bit more about sort of what you do within the crystal space. I know you do, I believe, a little Reiki. Give me just a little how you got into it. Where does that whole part of your life come from? We've already know you can identify cars by headlights, but when looking at my basalt, are you impressed by what I have on the desk? That's what I wonder now.
Yes, no, I'm impressed. When you get some more like little crystals around each point and they have like different meaning, like then we're really getting somewhere, Sean.
All right. Because I've only got the two. I got the fluorite. I got that. Like that's kind of the house is covered. Like if I was to turn this camera around and walk you through the home is covered. We just got some brand new stuff today that like look like it's like lava. It's like this big. I don't even know what it does.
Nice.
But tell me, how did you get into the world of all of that?
Well, I will tell you the quick version.
Perfect.
I was hit head on by a Hummer. We were both going about 50 miles an hour, and I got hit head on. How I didn't die, I have no idea. I literally didn't have but a few bruises from the seatbelt, and it still flabbergasts me to discuss it. But I learned in that moment where this is getting a little witchy on you, witchy woo woo-y, but the where I was at is actually a portal. So there's lots of people passing and coming, going from the physical realm to the spiritual realm. And I didn't know that. And I had a spirit attached. When your vibration lowers, these beings get trapped and they attach to a higher vibration than they are. Well, it took about 6 months worth of migraine medicine, shots in my spine to try to take away the migraines. I was having suicidal thoughts, and I knew when that happened, something else was wrong. It I heard a voice and it, told me to do something, and I was like, this isn't right. Like, this isn't me. And so instead of going the Western medicine route, I decided to go see a spiritual teacher, is what I call her. And she was able to recognize that that's what the was going on. And so she released that spirit, and I started to hear things. I literally lost all of my hearing. I could barely hear. And her office and the space that voice came in was literally across the parking lot. So when I came out of that appointment, I heard the bees, I heard a buzzing, I heard the birds, the river was running, the wind, everything changed that day. And I was like, this is some real shit. I didn't believe in spirits before then. I mean, even connecting with my mother, that had passed, I have never connected with her, and so that really is what sent me on this beautiful spiritual journey that I've been on for the last 5 years, almost 6.
Wow.
Yeah,
That
it's a lot.
is a lot. Yeah, like holy shit. That's really, again, I say cool in a way that it's a cool story to hear out loud. Not many of the details are that cool, except
Right.
for Ben. But okay, so you have this moment, right, where
Yep.
you're not a naysayer. I don't think. It doesn't sound
No.
like you're someone who's negative about the concept of it, but you go
No,
through
I
this
just
moment, right? Here you are, you go through it. Now you say to yourself, okay, that was real. This is real. What I'm dealing with now is real. What are your thoughts on how to explain or to speak about or conversate with the people in your circle about what's just transpired for you? Did you have the safe space to kind of take us back to the beginning of the discussion? What happens? Because obviously it's euphoric for you for that to happen. But for you to now tell the story, did you have any sort of stigma or concern about coming forward to people and saying, look, cured me, dude. I'm in. Like, this is how it happened. Let me tell you. Like, what was the feeling for you to tell your story after having been through your story?
Lots of practice, honest. And I think just I did it on a podcast, on one of my podcasts, and to be able to just tell nobody, really, right? Because when you record a podcast, you're by yourself, like literally with a fucking microphone, like nobody's here.
Yeah.
And that's really what it was. Like I'd never told anybody that I literally almost committed suicide.
Wow. And you did it on your podcast. You did it in a solo
I didn't
setting.
want people to worry about me. Yes. Oh, yes. Very much. It was the same office, same chair, this exact spot.
Look, this is, I don't know. This is like you and I sitting here is like episode 220 of my show. Consecutive Mondays. We've done this for 220 freaking Mondays, whatever it is. And it started off as an audio podcast because I was just sitting in my office and needed to just get shit out. So I recorded it and it was like, hey, whoa, we should probably let people know. We should probably do something about this. And it's therapy. I don't care if this show, if today what we do, if one person views it on the YouTube channel or one person views it on LinkedIn and they can have 3 seconds of whatever it is that we've talked about and take it away, it makes the 30 minutes, 40 minutes, 50 minutes, whatever it is I spend with you, worth it to me. So I commend you. Tell me, what's the name of the podcast that you do?
It's Relentlessly Love.
So
it's just like my business.
I didn't want to guess it. I mean, I was pretty sure. All right. I was pretty sure. You seem like a buttoned up branded girl to me. All right. So I figured it was, right. And it turns out it was. So, all right. Relentlessly Love. Cool. No, my wife pre-show, she was asking me, I told her who I was having on. She's like, oh my God, podcast, let me know. I'm totally gonna follow it. So you're gonna pick up at least one new viewer user, however it is that you get it out. So your story has a craziness to it from a standpoint of that you also had traumatic loss now when you were much younger. And I think there's this concept that, you know, kids lose parents before they're X amount of age. What do they know? How do they? And I think it's so silly that people could ever put the loss of a parent. I don't care if you were, zero, like in your kid, you're very young. Talk to me if you could just about what that does for you as a driving force now as a parent and trying to move that course forward, knowing that your dad, as you said, right, wasn't a single parent for too long, got remarried, and then had the unit back together for whatever that's, however that goes. But for you, how's that been a driving force for you, if you don't mind?
It's been a big one. Every day I want to make sure that my son knows that I love him in the way that he needs to feel loved. It doesn't matter how I show love, it matters how he needs to receive it. If he needs me to sit on the couch with him and do nothing, then I need to sit on the couch with him and do nothing. I don't get yesterday back, and I don't know that I get tomorrow. So today is all I have. And did I do everything in my power this morning, this afternoon, this evening to make sure that he knows that I love him in the way that he feels loved? I didn't grow up with a loving mother necessarily. She loved me in the way that she knew how to love. It wasn't in the way that I needed to feel loved. And I know that. And I've forgiven her over and over and over again on my own. And I know that I don't want my son to ever feel like that. I don't want him to ever, no matter what point this lifetime gets to end, I want him to question my love for him. So that's every day. He's on my checklist every single day.
to have that be the way that you put it about loving people like they need to be loved, not the way you know how, I think is really the core issue with a lot of people's relationships in general. I think we view relationships in a certain way. I think because family is family, it's supposed to be a certain way. But I think that there needs to be expectations of how much like we need to be loved, how much we need to be treated, just as people, and what we should expect of one another in this human construct. And I think a lot of that gets lost.
Oh yeah.
And why people can't connect. Is it because of stigma? Is it because of fear? Is it because they're not open to it? But Amanda, how old is your son?
He's 7.
He's 7. So has this always been the way that you've approached this? I know it's, I don't know the answer. That's why I'm really intrigued, is this idea of what you just spoke about. Is that a concept from day one, or is that an evolved concept that came along somewhere longer in the journey that you now understand is the way that you want to operate?
It definitely has evolved. The first 3 months of his life, I literally woke up every day and didn't know if I was going to wake up. So I was in a constant panic because my mom died when I was 3 months old. So I was like, is this going to happen again? And it took me a while to actually be able to tell you, Sean, very specifically and know intentionally that that's what I'm doing every day. It's probably been like that for the last 4 years. But the first 3 years, it was still trying to figure out how to be a wife, because I was married at that point, how to be a mom, how to run a business still, running retail, how do crazy. Some days you can clock out, some days you can't. And then we built a new home, and all these things were changing, and my body was changing. I was finally on this path towards like losing weight. At this point, so he's 7.5. So I mean, I've lost 90 pounds in 7.5 years. It's been very slow, very intentional. I have bumps and I learn, and over and over again. But the last 4 years have been very intentional with my parenting, and all of my relationships. You know.
I do know, and I got to tell you, your son is in good hands. I mean, in the way that you speak about your life, the way that you go about things, you use the word intentional a lot. And I think that's important for people to hear, because my guess is you do that because you need to remind yourself to be intentional and to be present in a moment. And it's something that I struggle with. Recently, I just did a podcast about being a phoneaholic and it being something that dominates my life because I run my business from it. You know what I mean? We run a business. People use laptops. I use my phone, and my phone has this stupid tracker built into it that I was just made aware of, some wellness thing that my buddy made me aware of, that I could just curse him days for even telling me the stupid things on my damn phone. Because now that I know it's there, I feel judged by it constantly. I feel like I shouldn't be in my apps. But it hasn't changed anything because I'm still working and I'm still in it. And I know it's the biggest issue that I have is the present moment. It's a work in progress though, right? I don't think anyone's ever really perfect at it, but
no.
Are on the path. I mean, the way you talk about being a parent seems very open. I'm not a parent, so I try to never comment on parenting activities because that will get you in a whole load of shit with people who are parents. So, and I don't need those arguments, I don't know how to be a heart surgeon, but if he had he has hand in your stomach, I could tell me he had a problem is only my point. All right. That's all I'm saying. I don't tell people how to do their jobs. I just simply observe my surroundings. That is all.
Right.
So
yep.
You reference a lot about your childhood, right? And how you were brought up and how you worked and how you do things.
Mm-hmm.
How hard have you found it, much as your dad did, to separate from the generation previous to you or how that you were parented? Because I've learned something. Is if we start to question how we were raised, it is somehow an assault on our parents' history and who they are as human beings. And there's never my intention. All I try to do is I seek to understand. So if I ask you a question, my wife fucking hates this about me, Amanda. If she asks me a question and I will respond with 3 various questions because what she has asked me needs context. I need to understand this. Answer the goddamn question, Sean. Just what the fuck is the answer? And it's like, yeah, but like, do you mean that like now this or like, see, and I get all fucked up. So, but I try to talk to even my dad. I'm like, hey, pops, well, like back in the day, that's just how it was. Okay, but did it have to be? Well, that's what it was. It's like, all right, dude. So we're not gonna. All right.
Yeah, we're not going there.
I didn't go anywhere. It's fine. Let's just talk about baseball again. I apologize. My bad. My bad. Do you find it difficult, Amanda, to make the separation, or is the last 4 years taught you that this is your lean in, this is your moment to break that parenting cycle? And again, there's nothing negative to the parenting cycle, parents. I'm just saying it's evolving. Like when you guys were our age, you didn't have these. So can we just like get over it? Like life's an evolution. So in your parenting evolution, is that what the last 4 years has been for you? Is that now present parent moment where you break away?
Yeah. And I still have moments like last night. He was like, Mom, really? Could you get off your phone? And I was like, oh, sorry, buddy. Like I was just looking for, because I've been shopping for a car. And I was like, oh, sorry. Did you want to help me? And he's like, no, I want you to put your phone down. I was like, oh, okay. Oh shit. Okay. He's serious. So I just like set it off.
You try to bring the kid in. You try to like make it his idea. Like, dude, I'm sorry. Did you want to scroll? It's hilarious. I do not mean to liken your kid to my cat. That's not what I'm gonna do. But I have a cat who he's from Beirut. We got him after the whole blast that happened out there, and he's a part of a scholarship program in Milwaukee. Now he lives with us. He's super awesome. I love him to death. But if you pull out your cell phone, it does not matter what you are doing. This kid comes over and he just stares at it and he scrolls with his phone, dude. He'll scroll social. He loves my wife's IG account. He loves YouTube birds, right? But you just try to make your kid like YouTube birds, where you were like, no, buddy, like look at Auto Trader. Isn't this shit fun? Like, come on, this is dope.
Look at this red one though, buddy. And then he was like, no. I was like, yeah, okay.
Like, I got my own damn tablet if I want to go scrolling shit. I do not need yours. Sit down and watch whatever's on the TV.
Right. Another big one is we only have one television in the house.
Okay, is that in the common room, just to make sure we're all on the same page? It's just where everyone can see. All right, cool. Why is that? What does that do? Where does that dial into you with the surroundings?
So actually, when we were building this house, we had to rent for a minute, and we couldn't like hang TVs or anything, and so we just had the one TV, and we didn't have TVs in the bedroom, like especially in the master bedroom. We didn't have a TV in there when we were renting, and it was so peaceful. So peaceful. And so it just stayed that way. And it, to me, I can't ever see living my life with a television in any, more than one. It's just so peaceful. Because when we come upstairs, we read, we're up here meditating, we're doing the things, it's quiet time.
Right. Yeah, I got to do much better with quiet time. The mind never stops for me. It's always going somewhere else, doing something else, trying to figure out a problem. Somebody said something 2 days ago, I just remembered, like the power of technology, right? To be in the palm of our hand, to have the ability to look up fucking anything, any moment that you've ever thought of, shit you probably shouldn't even Google, but you did it. It's the addiction, right? It's the get away from. It's the second I think of something, I know I can get the answer. So why not just go get it? Like, just pick up your phone, just go do it, And my phone, like, that's what I feel like it says to me. Like, just pick me up. Like, who cares? Like, it's just a phone. You're like, no, I don't want to pick up. Like, please stop it. With your son, when you get in those moments where he asks you to be present and you stop what you're doing, and this is what I'm learning, nothing burns down while you're gone, does it?
No, it really doesn't. Like, literally, when I pick up my phone, nothing has happened. And I'm like, oh, no one even texts me. Like, I didn't get a Shopify
platforms just to make sure no one's talked to me in any of them. And it's like, yeah, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, to me, there is nothing that is so urgent that it can't wait.
It's true.
If it and my people know, if it's an emergency, you call me. Like, just call me. Yeah. Most of the time my phone's on vibrate. So and then the Alexa, good God, the 3 Alexas start screaming that someone's calling. And so then I know, like, okay, where's the phone if I don't have it by me? But yeah, I try not to pick up my phone until I go down and work out in the mornings. So then I have about an hour and a half of just paper time, I guess is what you could call it. So reading, I'll meditate or like journal, or I do tarot cards in the morning sometimes. So paper time, I love to do that. So then I know nothing happened overnight. I turn the alarm off and everything's fine, and I know nobody else is awake, so I don't need my phone. And after that, it's like game time. Like the day can begin.
Yeah, for sure. No, I like the idea of taking that time before it gets started. And then my problem is the after hour. Is that disconnection previous to trying to calm down to go to bed. I'm not really. I know I don't get enough sleep. I tend to operate like this. The energy you see is not from any caffeine. Like I make the same joke to everybody. If you knew the amount of downers I use just to make it like this, you'd be shocked. Like you'd be blown away. You'd be like, okay, dude, I get it. And
Got it.
so you have to find your ways, right, to connect. And that's why I said to you earlier that, there's still stigma. I use certain things to connect. People are like, oh, really? Like you're 40 years old, you still use cannabis, or you use this or whatever. Well, yeah, it's because it's what helps me unlock my mind and be who I can be best at, and I think there's a lot to be said about dialing in and knowing who you are. I say it about my wife all the time. I don't know anybody who knows themselves and is willing to be as honest as she is about herself. It's mind-blowing, where she's just like, yeah, no, I could see this, I could see that, but this is probably not what I'm going to do. And I'm like, it's 30 seconds. Like, you just analyzed everybody's angle. You went and felt empathy for them, sympathy for them, decided it's probably not for you. I mean, me, I'm just like, well, hold on. What's this guy? What's he really want to do? What's he after? And she just, it's amazing. It's much like you and your superpower that you have of being able to help and be there for that. I want to circle back to that really fast. Yeah. While we close it up, because you've been super generous with your time. I know you have a lot to do. Especially you got to probably start closing car deals. Right. But so with that idea and concept, I mentioned to you that the struggle I have is the reciprocation. Do you have that struggle? How do you handle that? You make time, that you do what you do, yet I'm betting you find few in your sphere that do the same.
So I have, the last 2 years since I've been divorced, I have done so much self work, right, that I come to a place where anything I give free, absolutely no conditions. Anything I give is without condition. And if I need something from somebody, I am very specific and I say, I need this from you. And my people know that that means I'm serious and I need them. Well, I've just come to a place to know that my love will always flow and the right people will always have my energy that I give to them. And I just hold to that. I don't ever expect anything in return unless I ask for it. And then when I do ask, I'm very specific. And if I don't receive that, I don't take it personal. And then I come back to love. I come back to my own love. I can give myself the best fucking love, the best fucking advice, the best anything I could ever want from somebody else. I can give it to my fucking self. I don't need if I need validation, I'll ask.
Yes. But doesn't this somehow, and maybe it's just my life, maybe it's not yours, because you say it like that, and you're right. I am best for me. I got to be honest though, when I do that and I make that much self-reflection and I look back at what I surround myself with, that circle gets smaller and smaller and smaller.
It's going to.
And so if that's the reality of being me and accepting who I am and living who I am, then to your point, the only way I think I can be unconditional is to know that the circle around me is of the same level of acceptance. But that removes family, that removes friends that have been there for a while, right? Or whatever. I mean, I'm 40 years old, okay? I don't have like a ton of friends. When you're not a parent, I got news for you people with parents. When you're not a parent, all those events and all those ways you all socialize, people without them do not, all right? And I've been married 15 years in July. I don't go to bars. I don't do shit without my ride or die wife. So again, I don't, and couples don't really want to be, I don't know. They seem weirded out because we don't have kids. And then it's like, well, you don't have kids. So you hanging out with us, like, are we creepy because we don't have kids? Like, I don't, it's weird, but we're kind of isolated. But I feel like that isolation begins with me saying that I only want what's best for me. And I think a lot of people think that's selfish. But I don't. Do you, Amanda? Is it selfish to want just what's for me? I always say this is my ride. I don't
Yeah.
get your ride. You don't get my ride. I get one token on this
Yep.
deal as I see it here. I agree that if once I leave, it turns into something completely different. And just so you know, I don't know, this is so weird and non sequitur, but do you happen to be like a Harry Potter fan?
No.
All right. Well, sorry then. When you mentioned what happened to you in your accident, what was happening to you in passing, it was like this crazy scene from Harry Potter where it was just like he was crossing worlds and it was just life and real. And then it was all stacked and sort of swinging by. Amanda, that must have been to replay, to dig back into, must have been just unbelievable for
Yeah.
you to have, because it couldn't have been in the moment where you had this realization, right? Like this is something that came to you as you sort of came to, if you will, and realized, holy shit, this just happened to me. Is that kind of what it was like?
In the moment, like at the accident.
Yeah. Like, but did you realize it in the moment when you were in the accident, or is it something that when you woke up in a hospital, whatever your next step was, that you would realize this is what had happened to you? Like, do you remember that part of it?
I was conscious for the whole thing. Like I didn't, like, literally, Sean, like I only had bruises. I didn't break a bone. I mean, nothing.
I can't
And
imagine what your car
so,
looks like.
what?
I can't imagine what your car looks like. I mean,
Oh, I know.
you being hit head on 50 miles an hour by a Hummer, and I just think to myself, unless you were in a 75 Cadillac, you know what I mean? then that would have been a fair fight. But in today's cars with a Hummer, it probably wasn't.
Yeah, I had a Subaru Legacy at the time.
Well,
I'll send you pictures.
couldn't have been anything better than to have that be the case. So, yeah, right. Do me a favor, put them on the LinkedIn post, comment, and just reference that picture. I want everybody to see it. So if you just send it to me, I won't get out that way. But do it for me that way. Amanda, as we wrap this up, again, you've been great with your time. What would be a piece of advice you'd give to people to, you use the word, all right? So remember that when I say this.
Okay.
To help them start on the path of woo-woo, all right? My wife loves that word, so that's why I use it. All right, I call it some woo-woo bullshit, right? But it's, so people can't get all the way to crystals and tarots. I think you can accept that, you understand that. What advice do you have for them to sort of step into the acceptance of the vibration of life that lives around them? What would you say to get started?
I think the only thing that you would ever need to know is that literally everything, your piece of paper, your pen, your hat, your shirt, your phone, your contacts, your food, literally everything, the ground, the cars, the gas, air, everything has a vibration. Just feel it. I mean, it's just that simple. It is that simple. Just start with that. Pick up your pen and just feel it in your hand. Like, pick up a different pen. Do they feel different? And then if that's too much for you, then let it go. And then just as things come to you, they will. I mean, to me, spirit, universe, angels, God, whatever you want to use, they're always around and trying to guide you and show you that they're there. And when you're ready for that, you'll be ready for it. But until then, everything is a vibration, and that's all you need to know.
I love it. It's very simple. And I agree with you on the, the letting us know. My wife and I have a big thing about birds and some deer situation when we lost our pup. We were sitting with her on our last hike, kind of, the morning we knew everything was going to happen. And we're on this big long hike together and we're crying. She's running, oddly enough, she hadn't run in days. Super weird. And we just said, give us a sign, let us know, and so then moments later, a bunch of deer had come by while we were all together. And so we had kind of said, all right, that's it. And now every time we return to this park, almost every time we see at least a pack of 4 deer. And it gives you that sort of, like we know that. And I'm okay if people don't come with that, because as I said earlier, this is my ride. I've already punched my ticket with who I plan to ride this thing out with. And so that's how it is. So Amanda, thank you so much. Your story is amazing. I hope that folks have really listened to the way you talk about loving unconditionally, expecting nothing for it. which I think is a key and something that yeah, Amanda, I don't. I still expect, but it's not. It's so infrequently. It's so infrequently that I do have any desire or need for it, but I probably don't speak it. I expect it to be known because I've always been there for everybody else. It just seemed, again, assumed amongst humanity, but I should know better than that. And I should be specific in if I need it, to say it. And I thank you for that lesson. Like I said, if it helps one person, well, today you have. So thank you.
You are so welcome. And I appreciate this moment. It means a lot.
Yeah, this has been great. I really have had a lot of fun. Where can folks find you, Amanda, if they want to check out more on your story?
So on LinkedIn, it's Amanda Storrs. On Instagram, it's Manda, Manda, Storrs, Storrs. And then my website is relentlessly.love. And that's my Instagram as well for my business, if you don't want to follow my crazy personal stuff.
And that's also the podcast, Relentlessly Love podcast, that you do as well.
Yes.
Unbelievable. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. That was probably one of the most fun Mental Health Mondays. If you can't smile after like a good 6 minutes of this show, you're probably an asshole, and don't worry about it. You can be better. Okay. Thank you all so much. I hope you tune in next week. Have yourselves a wonderful week.